jockeying with each other, playing the nations off against each other, the race to the bottom, the destruction of the middle class, the destruction of the infrastructure, always competing with the authoritarian China, who takes their 10-year-olds and puts them in slave factories. They're now openly saying they may drug the water supply in China to stop the epidemic of suicide. See, it's not that the society's sick, it's that you're sick because you don't like working 18 hours a day in fumes in the iPad factory. So that our kids can be in the matrix, not communicating with friends and family, just staring into their iPad or their iPhone. Not saying an iPhone or iPad is evil of itself. How it's being built is evil. What it's doing to us, what we're allowing to happen is evil. Now, there's also a war on being able to recognize evil. They tell us there is no evil. Let the government do whatever it wants, but then it moralizes to you all day about how you should feel guilty and give up your rights. So that's the key to understanding this. China, we are being told, is the owner of America. We're seeing the Chinese flags. The AP says that's to let Americans suspicious of China know they shouldn't be suspicious. No, it's meant to throw it in our face. It's meant to get us ready for more outrages. We're being dragged through the mud. We're being conditioned to accept all of this. That's what Richard Nixon was about. That's what Bill Clinton was about. That's why all of it came out, that he was doing all these things with cigars and lying and raping women and selling things out to communist Chinese and murdering Ron Brown and blowing up Oklahoma City. It's meant to just get you to where you totally just accept that they do that and they get away with that. Just like the TSA is going to put their hands down your pants to train you. And now it's in the news that even if you refuse the naked body scanners, they make you walk through them, though. See, it's just that little act of submission. Okay, I'll arrest you if you don't do exactly as I say. You're allowed to opt out. Just a regulation. All made up. But I want you to go ahead and walk through anyways in front of the people. And they admit that's to condition everybody else watching that it's safe. They don't want to see one of the sheep not going into the slaughter pen, even if you're not going to slaughter that Judas goat, you know, the goat that leads in the other sheep, but then goes out on the other side. They're making you become a Judas goat. It's all animal psychology. The minute you use your higher order thinking, the minute you start scanning their scams, the minute you start analyzing what they're doing, the minute you decide to not just receive it like a chump, it's all over. But it's up to you. So, here we are. And they're humiliating us with these announcements of how China runs our country. And they're overrunning the nation and filling all the new people that are brought into the country that could be helpful parts of the nation to empower the country with their own nationalism to hate the United States so they can balkanize us and all control us. And it's that same strategy globally. The global government is a global corporate empire that has all the wealth, and then now they're basically scapegoating China as our owner. But they're scapegoating them by saying how powerful they are, by saying how great they are, by saying they run America. Remember how they did that in the 80s with the Japanese, and Americans were all upset. The Japanese are buying up America. The Japanese done got us. The Japanese were being taken over by the central banks. The central banks were the ones doing it, and they got Japan suckered into the fast money. And so that incredibly productive country has been in a 15-year depression and is never coming out of it. And it's the same thing. China is a horrible hellhole, and by the globalists praising it and giving it pride, in China, that makes the people not rebel against their government, the good people of China, who have been rebelling with pickaxes and hoes and shovels and beating the police and military in provinces all over the country. I've seen the videos on YouTube that are snatched down quickly of just farmers who are sick of having their family land taken, who are starving to death, just running with hoes and attacking police, who then start shooting them. And then you just see the farmers overrun everyone, and then the tape cuts out. And our government, pull that off YouTube. Don't let people see that. That'll embarrass our Chinese friends. So this is meant to make the American people hate the Chinese people. The Chinese media is always demonizing the U.S. That's meant to have their people hate us. while it's just the corrupt, bloodthirsty elite of China with the corrupt, bloodthirsty elite of America and Europe and the UN, they're all teamed up building this global government that's designed to actually cull out most of the population, because we're not just cheap. Life isn't just cheap. It's seen as negative. So the big issue here is that the global government is a corporate fraud government that sits above all the countries, and they're playing us off against each other. We'll be right back.
Is it really possible to get out of debt without payment plans or attorneys? 18 years ago, we developed a program that has made thousands debt-free in just 90 days. It's called Zero Debt in 90 Days, and it works for all credit card debt, medical bills, even collection lawsuits.
When I first joined, I was being sued. So I used the program methods, and after filing one piece of paper, the collection lawsuit was dismissed.
With Zero Debt in 90 days, your success is guaranteed in writing. There is no other program of its kind. Don't be alone when creditors gang up on you. Let our team of experts provide the resources to fight back and stop creditors in only 90 days, guaranteed. Prevent wage garnishments, bank levies, and stop collection calls with our proven program. Call Zero Debt in 90 days now, 800-477-9256, and ask for free information from an expert who also completed our program. 800-477-9256 or ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com. 800-477-9256 or ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com.
Gold isn't for you? Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources, one of the world's premier gold and precious metal investing firms. I get it. You wouldn't buy gold if you believed that the government is doing a great job, that the Fed will stop handing out trillions of dollars like bailout candy, that Social Security would be there for you. That's not what's happening. You might even pass on gold if the stimulus package wouldn't fuel inflation, or that the dollar wouldn't lose value, or that your retirement would be secure. If all looks rosy to you, then now is not the time to buy gold. For the realist, there have never been more sobering reasons to diversify with gold. Since 2001, the U.S. dollar index has tanked 30% while gold has risen 300%. Right now, savvy investors are adding gold to their portfolios. You should too. Find out what they know. Call us and I'll send you 10 reasons why gold will do very well, free. 800-686-2237. 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
They helped to create a new world order.
We are part of a new world order.
A new world order based upon collective action.
Invisible Empire is a damning indictment of the globalists through their own words and documents.
The new world order really is a tool for addressing a new world of possibilities.
It means all the world under their control.
The United Nations would take over America. The Trilateral Commission would control the world.
Invisible Empire chronicles how men of power and influence have worked in stealth for centuries to establish an oppressive world government.
I believe, first of all, that we now need nothing short of a world constitution for the global financial system.
Global governance with the establishment of the G20.
So it's going to be an inner ruling elite and then everyone else. And I got news for you. You're everyone else.
Invisible Empire. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com, or watch it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Do you have more than 4 hot flash episodes a day? Do you ever wake up at night soaked in sweat? Do you experience mood swings, heightened emotions, or sometimes feel on the verge of tears? Have you gained more than 5 pounds? Have you lost the energy level you had before menopause? Do you have low libido or no interest at all? If you said yes to any of these questions, you may be suffering with severe menopause symptoms and you qualify to receive a free month supply of Amberen. Amberen is the incredibly effective all-natural solution for menopause relief. It's backed by published clinical trials and 30 years of research. It has helped thousands of women get free from the awful symptoms of menopause. Call now and ask how you can receive 30 days of Amberen free of charge. Free supplies are limited, so go to AmberenTrial.com. That's AmberenTrial.com. Or call 1-800-318-8232. That's 1-800-318-8232. 1-800-318-8232.
China has a 100 million population. India is now over 1 billion. Both countries are firmly under globalist control. And they will just play the nations off against each other and will export Chinese authoritarianism worldwide. You know, it just came out yesterday that China is now giving more money to the third world than the IMF every year. And when you hear about the IMF, that means our money. They take our money that we back up with taxpayers, and the private bankers openly go in and say, here's the money, now you got to spend it with this private company. That's on record. That's all been leaked. The BBC's covered it. And it was IMF World Bank loans that started China. And now Americans buying cheap Chinese slave goods have financed what's happened. And like a dealer, and that's what China is, selling us crack, the American people cannot stop buying the Chinese slave goods. They have sold their liberty, their freedom, their future. They've deindustrialized us in the name of the Xbox, in the name of Connect. That face scans you and tracks everything you do in your house and has a microphone and a camera that watches you in your home. And the government admittedly is dialing in to these systems and watching you, and the OnStar. I mean, and selling us that authoritarianism is good. There's this conversion into tyranny happening, and China is there to lead the way. And when they, quote, give countries, you know who mines the majority of the minerals, rare earth minerals now out of Australia? It's not even the British government. It's the Chinese. And the Australians are freaking out. I mean, the Chinese are coming in, taking over almost every mining city, and they're demanding stakes in the, in the domestic minerals themselves and actually taking the country over. And they control over 90% of rare earth minerals that go into all the gadgets as well. They have a strategic plan because they're the collectivist model. And where does David Rockefeller spend a lot of time? Who was involved in creating the system? David Rockefeller, who admittedly set up the modern UN as we know it. That's how powerful these people are. And so they're going to use China to muscle out what's left of Western industry and everything else and force that giant sucking sound, that complete implosion of the economy that will render us subservient and dependent on them. But we must not hate the Chinese people. They are fighting back. They want freedom. You know, our media back in Tiananmen Square halfway praised them. Today they're decried. The Dalai Lama is kicked out the back of the White House. He's called a feudal dictator by the news. And he's certainly not perfect, but compared to the Chinese communists, I mean, they did take over Tibet. They do force Tibetan women to marry Chinese males. And, of course, they're all Asian, but the point is forcing you to marry, ending the culture. The globalists want to end all cultures. Again, they sell the communist Chinese murderers like they're rock stars. And that's what this is about. But it'll also create, at a subconscious level, envy. Americans love thinking they're number one. They're real into that. When America that has been dead a long time, I'm trying to resurrect it. We could do it with your help. So it's having the other effect of people calling for more defense spending and feeling incredibly threatened, which is what the Rothschilds would always do. They'd sell one armament to the Austrians, and then the French had to have the better one. And then the Austrians had to have the better. Then the British had to have, and always one-upping each other. So this is the perfect way to enrage Americans, coming out and saying China owns America and putting Chinese flags up everywhere in Washington. Now, let's go to this clip put out by Citizens Against Government Waste that was banned on History Channel, ABC, Discovery Channel, and dozens of other channels. This is not allowed to air in America because you can't be critical of our new owners, who themselves are owned by the bankers that make them look like paupers. Here's the clip of the Chinese professor. Beijing, China, 2030. Why do great nations fail? He's teaching the commies. The ancient Greeks, the Roman Empire, the British Empire, and the United States of America. They all make the same mistake, turning their backs on the principles that made them great. America tried to spend and tax itself out of a great recession. Enormous so-called stimulus spending, massive changes to health care, government takeovers of private industries, and crushing debt. Of course, we own most of their debt. So now they work for us. And that is actually what is taught in China.
You have to join Citizens.
That is actually what is taught in China, and that is what is in their news. Chinese general says ready to nuke U.S. You know, that sub launching the missile. And our military is just busy training to take our guns. and, you know, fighting Muslim terrorists publicly funded by the CIA. Again, the globalists fund the communists, they fund the Nazis, they fund the Muslim extremists. A lot of them don't even know they're being funded from, you know, upline, downline. This is geopolitical master stratagem.